Cuba's western region is counting the costs after Tropical Storm Andrea dumped heavy rains over the area on Thursday, cutting off communities and leaving hundreds of homes underwater. Towns in Pinar del Rio province on the island's western end were hit hard by Andrea, reportedly dumping up to 12 inches of rain in some areas of Cuba. The season's first Atlantic tropical storm, Andrea made landfall in Florida on Thursday and is forecast to drench much of the US southeast with heavy rain as it cuts across Georgia and up the Atlantic coast.
Tropical Storm Andrea moving quickly toward the northeast, set to be a very waterlogged Friday for millions after leaving so much damage in its path.
With it, impressive numbers. In Wilmington, North Carolina, more than 5 inches of rain in just one day. That's about what they get in a month. Downpours in Raleigh, North Carolina, with more than 5 inches in less than 3 hours.
13 inches, almost 14 inches in North Miami Beach of rain. Boston picked up over 3. New York City had its second wettest June day ever with 4.16 inches of rain. Lots of records to talk about and a lot of Ventura, Florida. Look at this. They're on a bus and it's full of water. So imagine being on a public bus, people putting their feet up on the seats, trying to climb away from the water that was filling that bus.
There are people kind of freaking out and crying.
The tropical storm bringing heavy rains, over 5 inches in Manatee County, while in other areas, Doppler estimates indicate up to 9 inches of rain.
We're scared that our house is going to flood.
And their storm surge.
It did a little bit of damage. There were a couple tornadoes down there, and that'll be the threat again today.
Oh my God, Doug. You might get hit by flying debris.
This dramatic surveillance video shows how even a tropical storm can produce major trouble. One of Andrea's tornadoes ripping through this Gulfport, Florida restaurant.
May have done the most damage in Florida. 8 confirmed tornadoes and 50-mile-per-hour winds, downing trees and leaving thousands in the dark.
Zoom là. Tu la filmes? Où elle est?
Strong winds and heavy monsoon rains across Sri Lanka's coastal area have left 27 dead, while another 29 fishermen are still missing.
Strong winds and heavy rains batter Sri Lanka. The start of the monsoon season is producing winds of more than 100 miles or 70 kilometers per hour. The Navy and Air Force continue rescue efforts. There are at least 36 missing fishermen. At least 37 boats have disappeared. And there's little relief in sight, with heavy showers expected.
At least 21 flood-related deaths have been reported in Central Europe as overflowing rivers cause extensive damage. Residents in Germany are preparing for more flooding as waters of the Elbe River remain at a dangerously high level.
The River Elbe, which runs through this city, is threatening to burst its banks. 23,000 people have had to be evacuated from their homes after streets and buildings were flooded.
A new round of severe weather moving east tonight. 18 million families in the heartland bracing for powerful winds, possible tornadoes. And we've also seen what is being called a biblical dust storm, with the roar of a freight train engulfing cars on the road.
This was the view from the driver's seat in Winnemucca, Nevada yesterday. Apocalyptic is how some drivers described it because of a sudden sandstorm. Only after the dust had cleared did the damage become visible. 27 vehicles piled up on Interstate 80 and one truck driver dead.
Tonight, we're keeping a close eye on the weather across the map. It's been a dangerous 24 hours, and forecasters are predicting a wild night and day ahead for much of the country. In fact, more than 75 million Americans are at risk of severe storm.
Good evening, Lester. This week is already off to a very active start. Last night, we saw tornadoes and flooding. In fact, plenty of flooding happening throughout parts of the Northeast, including Maryland. Tough to get around, making for very dangerous conditions. Also, in parts of Nevada dealing with some of the flooding as well. And then there were the tornadoes that went along with some of these strong storms. Several reports of tornadoes from Kentucky to Delaware and North Carolina. Some damage and injuries were reported with that.
Begin with the severe storm rolling across the nation right now. Weather experts putting out a kind of all points bulletin. 1 in 5 Americans in the path of what could become a weather phenomenon called a derecho, a 240-mile stretch of wicked wind.
That's an extremely powerful land hurricane with winds up to 100 miles per hour.
Now to the massive weather system that spawned nearly 20 tornadoes over the past 24 hours, now moving to the east, creating a dangerous situation tonight in big metropolitan areas.
That massive storm system that swept across several states from the Midwest to the Mid-Atlantic is being blamed for 4 deaths.
Throughout the day, the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic have been in the target zone, as several lines of powerful storms with high winds took aim at the region, tossing cars and tearing apart buildings. This afternoon, dark clouds and heavy rain rolled into Washington. These storms first began popping up last night, bringing damaging winds and heavy rain. In Worth County, Iowa, a terrifying 45 minutes as firefighters worked to rescue a child and 2 adults from a submerged SUV. Without warning, the child's safety line suddenly dipped below the surface of the water.
Uprooted and hundreds of thousands were left without power after heavy rains and strong winds slammed the East Coast. On the West Coast, a rare tornado touched down in Oregon, damaging buildings and homes.
And then there's wildfires burning right now throughout parts of Colorado. And there are several of those going on right now related to the record heat and the high winds. Temperatures in the triple digits already for Denver today and for Pueblo. For Denver, that's the earliest this season to reach 100. And you're looking.
In Colorado, the most destructive wildfire in state history is now blamed for 2 deaths. The Black Forest Fire has destroyed at least 360 homes just outside Colorado Springs.
The destruction is staggering. And tonight, 2 people found dead in Colorado's most destructive wildfire ever. 41,000 people now under mandatory orders to evacuate.
Breaking news on the weather front this evening. Record rains, nearly as much rain in parts of the South in just the last few hours as they see in an entire year. Dozens of rescues underway.
Tonight, more than 60 water rescues. Dramatic flooding from Missouri to Iowa to Texas. Gushing through yards near Springfield, Missouri. Flowing water almost overtaking this SUV. As much as 9 inches of rain in southwest Missouri, falling in just 5 hours today. And look at that hail, spiky and bigger than the computer mouse. North of Des Moines, Iowa, streets were flowing with floodwaters. And south of San Antonio, Texas, creeks, ponds, and the Rio Grande River went surging through the streets this weekend. And look at those officers. They're waist-deep searching for those who are trapped. As many as 300 people spent the night in shelters. All of this after almost 17 inches of rain fell in just 36 hours. That's almost as much as the city gets in an entire year.
An incredible scene of devastation this morning. Torrential rain and flooding have washed away entire buildings, killing at least 23 people in northern India. Dozens more are missing. People are being rescued from rooftops. A landslide nearby buried a bus.
36 hours of rain took a heavy toll on the lives of locals in northern India's pilgrimage town of Uttarkashi on Sunday. The flooded Ganges River swept away houses and caused extensive losses for locals in and around Uttarkashi.
The rains usually cover all of India by mid-July, but this year it happened on June 16, the earliest such occurrence on record, a senior official at the India Meteorological Department said.
We're also getting information and videos from our citizen journalists, and here's what you're seeing, one sent by a stranded CJ Nirja in Dharasu. She shot this while she and her friends were in a car and got stuck in the floods. They've been stuck in Dharasu for over 3 days now, with food supplies fast depleting.
More than 10,000 pilgrims who were stranded along a mountain pass leading to a Hindu religious site are being evacuated by helicopter.